Hi Adam, I'm Barbara Northrup. You may recognize me from the picture that you have on your website. You asked me to make a video, and that's what I'm doing, to talk about MyBodyTutor, what it has meant to me, and the ways that it has changed my life. I don't know if you know the whole story about why I contacted you. Just over a year ago, in October of 2010, I was going to a workshop in Seattle, near Seattle, Washington. And my friend Judy, whom I had not seen for about 10 years, decided that she would come and join me. She was living on the west coast of Canada at that time. And so we planned to meet in Washington State and spend a few days together. The thing that I wondered about a lot as I was preparing for my trip was how much she weighed. Over my 30 or 40 year friendship with Judy, she has ballooned to very high weights and has also shrunk to very small weights. And since I hadn't seen her for 10 years, I was very curious as to how she looked and how she was doing weight-wise. It had always been a big issue for her, and consequently became an issue for me in the sense that it was so important to her that I became preoccupied with her about her weight. When we saw each other for the first time, I was struck because she had, again, lost a lot of weight. She looked normal. Not very thin, but not very fat. Nobody looking at her would think twice about her weight. Again, she looked normal. She had a very nice shape, and that also struck me. But over the 2 or 3 days that we spent together, what seemed to me much more important than the fact that she had lost weight was that she was not concerned about food, that her food issues, for lack of a better term, had simply vanished as far as I could see. I had always not enjoyed going to restaurants with her or going out to eat with her because it was so problematic. She was so, I mean, I don't want to go on about her problems with food, but I just really wanted to underline that her preoccupations were so intense that it was very difficult and very unpleasant to go and eat with her because it was tense about where we were going to eat, what we were going to eat. Would they have exactly what she wanted on the menu? Would it be prepared exactly the way she liked? Then there was the anxiety waiting for the food to come and then attacking it was awful. Actually, it was really awful. And what was very surprising to me was that this problem, the food problem, simply seemed not to be there. She was organized in the sense that she was obviously paying attention to when she was eating. It was a point with her to eat every 3 to 4 hours, that she did note the time that she was eating. But as far as eating itself, the act of eating, she was normal again, and that was much more surprising to me than her weight loss. That I had seen her in and out and in and out and in and out, and so was perfectly prepared that she had found some cockamamie diet that she had lost weight on, but that this very strong, intense, negative relationship, uncomfortable, perhaps more uncomfortable relationship rather than negative, but this uncomfortable relationship with food simply didn't seem to exist anymore. So I, of course, asked her how she had achieved this miracle, because I really did view it as being a miracle, and she told me about MyBodyTutor. She talked to me about her process, the kind of plans that she had gone through with MyBodyTutor, and of course I immediately decided that I was going to do the same thing. Now, unlike other programs that I have embarked on, and not even programs but diets really, I did take some time to think through what was my motivation? What was I expecting to get? What was I hoping to get out of this process? And so I did take some time to really think about it before I embarked on before I contacted you, Adam. And when I did contact you, it was with very much a model that Judy had lent to me, in the sense that she told me that she had first signed up for, I think it's what you call the Platinum Plan, where there's a daily phone call, that she had not needed you very often, but when she needed you, she found that your presence extremely helpful, and that she had then moved on to the regular reporting and the one time a week telephone contact with you. So I decided to do the same thing. The other thing that she reassured me about was that although you like to delve into the motivations and kind of do a psychological thing with your clients, that she told me she had made it very clear that she was not interested in that. And since we're both in the same kind of counseling field, I felt also that I was not going to want to do very much in that area with you, and told you that, as I recall at the time. When I signed up, I was interested certainly in losing weight, but what was underlying that was really more and more concerns that I had developed about my health. I tend to be somewhat hypochondriacal, and so I had already diagnosed myself with diabetes. I was terrified of having a stroke. There's a lot of heart disease in my family, and I recognized that my weight was an accident waiting to happen. But it wasn't so much I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. It's really I want to be less afraid of developing diabetes, for instance, or having a stroke, which was had become a major phobia or fear for me. And in a way, I had a bit of a contradictory feeling about it, because at the same time as I knew that I was overweight, I was horrified when I weighed myself for the first time and discovered that, according to a body mass index, I was obese. I had never dreamed that I was obese. I guess I didn't know what obese was. I knew I was overweight, but I never dreamed that I was that overweight. So when I embarked on the program, I think what I had done, which was new for me, was to really think through what I wanted, how I wanted to be, what was important to me, and that my goals were clearer than just losing weight for appearance sake. Now, appearance is important. I am not a young person, obviously, but even at 62, I'm interested in looking the best I can, and I'm not particularly, was not particularly thrilled that I was wearing, having to shop all the time at Additionnel, which is our local fat lady store, or Pennington's, which is the same kind of market. And had slowly crept up from a size 14 to a size 16, and sometimes into a size 18. So again, when I started, I think my motivation was quite clear. I was open to becoming more physically active, and appreciated that part of the program also involved physical activity. I was open to experimenting with that a bit more than I had, though I wasn't so clear on how it would work. What thrilled me about the program was that I was never hungry. I have dieted much in my life. Although before I had, probably for 10 years or 15 years before starting on MyBodyTutor, I had vowed never again to diet, never to weigh myself, never to diet, because every time I lost weight, I could lose weight very successfully, but every time I lost weight, I would gain the weight right back and more, as is typical. And in part because I would diet, I would feel at some point that I was starving, and there was an intense hunger that could not be satisfied, and so I had to eat. And I would eat and eat and eat. So imagine my bliss when I discovered that I was never hungry. I was always eating. Uh, Eating every 3 or 4 hours gives you a lot of room to maneuver. And although initially I kind of had the idea that I could eat anything I want every 3 or 4 hours, with your guidance, I very quickly and easily, I want to underline that it was very easy, adapted myself and adapted what I was eating. I think it's important to remember that I live and work in northern Quebec, which means that I do not have easy access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Sometimes it's difficult even to get decent frozen vegetables. Special cuts of fish and meat are sometimes very difficult to get, usually always frozen, but still very difficult to get. For instance, chicken breasts, boneless, skinless chicken breasts don't exist practically. So that I had some particular challenges related to eating well. Right now I'm in Montreal, and I've been here for the last 3 weeks, and what has totally blown me away. Now, I've been on MyBodyTutor for just over a year now. I've been working with you. So perhaps I should have kind of woken up earlier to this. For some reason, it just struck me during this trip how easy it is to eat well in this society. I'm a 10 or 15 minute walk from a grocery store where I can get anything. Specialty vegetables, gourmet potatoes, multicolored carrots, endless fresh broccoli, really fresh broccoli, endless cuts of cuts of meat that are low fat. I could go on and on and on. Specialty grains, ancient grains, quinoa, kamut. I don't know if that's what it is in English. But there's just so much choice. It's so easy to eat well here. I'm just totally blown away. And I've been really enjoying the fact that I can just go to the store anytime I want and get anything I want, and I can eat that. And always feel satisfied and feel that I've eaten well and not overeaten and not overstocked myself on fats and certainly refined flours and that kind of thing. So it's really been a real pleasure. Which brings me to my other point, is that even up north, where I'm having to order food in, where I'm having to really make an effort of getting to the grocery store when the plane arrives, because if I'm not there on the day that the plane arrives, everybody else is going to snap up the broccoli or the cabbage. That despite those challenges, over time, I began to enjoy my food. Purely enjoy eating for the first time since I was a very small child. I've been concerned about my weight for a very long time, and felt guilty about what I've been eating for a very long time, and have been yo-yo dieting for a very long time. And so to have this experience of eating well and just loving it. I love the food I eat. I enjoy it. It is guilt-free. I don't feel stressed about food. And so curiously, what I've recognized is that despite the fact that I refuse to enter into a psychological counseling kind of relationship with you, Adam, that over the course of whatever it is that we've done, I've not only lost almost 50 pounds, but I've simply, my food issues have disappeared as Judy's did. I don't know where they went. I wasn't even particularly aware of having food issues, but whatever the process was, I no longer feel stressed about food. I don't feel guilty all the time about having eaten too much, have eaten the wrong thing, and even when I do choose to eat junk food, and I use, junk food, French fries, for instance. If I choose to eat French fries, I enjoy them or not. If I don't enjoy them, then I stop eating them. Whereas before I started with MyBodyTutor, sitting it down to a plate of French fries, it was guaranteed I was going to finish every single solitary French fry on the plate. Even though I now realize that much of the time, when I choose to eat French fries, they're nasty, they don't taste good, and I give up on them very quickly because they don't taste good and I'm not enjoying it. The other day I went out with a friend for lunch. I had pizza. It was absolutely delicious. I chose one with limited fat, no pepperoni, not because I felt that I had to, but because the vegetables on the pizza that I eventually chose, they just sounded yummy. Broccoli, roasted red peppers, and the pizza came a thin crust, whole wheat. It was absolutely delicious, and I just enjoyed every single solitary bite of it. I ate everything on the plate. Was it too much? Maybe. But I ate it, I ate well, and I just totally enjoyed it. So to eat what I want, when I want, within the limit of every 3 to 4 hours, it has just opened up. I feel free. Despite this structure, I feel free to have a relationship with food that is healthful and healthy. And I'm very grateful for that. It's made a really big difference for me. I guess the other thing that's happened is that as I lost a little bit of weight, and as the weight kept coming off, I also did avail myself of your coaching about being more physically active. And that was extremely helpful as well. Again, my motivation for wanting to lose weight, or my motivation rather for joining MyBodyTutor, was to lose weight, to reduce my anxiety about diabetes and other chronic illnesses and the horrible idea of having a stroke. So clearly upping my physical activity was something that seemed to be a good thing to do. Over time, I started out very, very slowly. When I joined in November of 2010, as I recall, I started with a 15-minute walk outside. And when I said 15 minutes, it was right to the dot of 15 minutes. It would not be a second over 15 minutes. If I said 15 minutes, it would be 15 minutes, really no longer, because physical activity was not something that I enjoyed. I just could take it or leave it. No, I couldn't really take it or leave it. I was a couch potato. I didn't want to be physically active. I thought it was dumb. But starting slowly with the 15-minute walk and building on that, I've turned into a gym rat. I am totally shocked. Since I've been on vacation in Montreal, I found a gym not too far from me, and I've been going regularly. I walk to the gym. Can you imagine? It takes me 15 minutes to walk to the gym. It takes me 15 minutes to walk home. I walk to the bus, which is another 15-minute walk. I take a bus that doesn't leave me 2 minutes from my house. I take the bus that lets me off at the bottom of my street so that I walk up 15 minutes. I do a resistance program, and if I do say so myself, I think it's really amazing. I've learned that physical activity can do things like reduce anxiety. Duh. I was worried about a bathroom renovation that I've gotten involved with, gotten stuck with, really. I was feeling tense and worried about it. I decided I'd go to the gym and do treadmill. When I came home, it didn't seem to be as big a problem as it was before. That was my first experience of what I've been told many times, or what I've heard many times, is about the benefits of physical activity. Well, I've lived it now myself. I haven't lost any weight since June, I think, of this year. It's now the first day of December. But I've dropped many, many, many sizes since then. My weight loss is still around between 47 and 50 pounds. It varies a little bit. But the other day I went shopping for pants. I really needed, I felt that my pants were just feeling kind of baggy. I'm down to a size 6, for heaven's sakes. And this is somebody who was wearing a size 16 or a size 18 in the Fat Lady store. a size 6. I can't think of the last time I wore a size 6. It's incredible. And I think that that is really certainly due to the weight loss, of course, but also due to the physical activity that has helped to firm up my body, and I think contributed to a sense of well-being. My sleeping has improved. I cannot be snoring as much as I used to snore, so I think that my rest is also improved. I wasn't necessarily aware that I was snoring my head off, but anybody who came to visit me would comment on the noise. So if I did not have sleep apnea, I had something similar to sleep apnea, and that's gone away as I've lost weight. I think that that's all really I have to say. It's been a very interesting process for me. I've learned a lot about myself. It's over a year since I started. It's 7th of November 2010. It's now the 1st of December 2011. I'm going to hang in there now with BodyTutor for another couple of months or so, and I think that I'll soon be ready to be on my own, because I feel quite solid in what I've learned, in what I've gained, and what I've lost, which is 47 pounds and a lot of attitude, a lot of bad attitude about food and me. I feel much better about myself as a human being, and I cannot thank you enough. You've changed my life. Bye. Actually, Adam, there are a couple of things that I wanted to add, and I think they're important. Your passion, it's clear to me that you are following your bliss in your work. You comment on that about your, what the French say is cheminement, your progress from being in the world of finance to starting up your own business. But that bliss and your passion is really what you project so strongly to the people who join MyBodyTutor. And the other thing that I think is really important is that you are clearly a highly moral young man, and that's important as well. You're not, I mean, of course you want to make money. Who doesn't want to make money? But there is always, I always had a sense that you were invested in me. And that it wasn't because I was paying you whatever I was paying you a month, that you were rigorous in your feedback, that you were highly constructive, that you were really working from your heart, and that came across all the time, and is really, I think, what makes you different from many other worthwhile ideas and worthwhile programs, is that you are the passion behind MyBodyTutor, and that gets transmitted very clearly to the people who are working with you, and that's really much appreciated. The other thing is that I have said to you, and it is very true, is you are a very wise young man. The inspirations that you send out don't always speak to me, honestly. Of course they don't. Sometimes they are way over the side for me, and other times, boy, they are spot on, and they're so helpful. When I think particularly of some of the things that you've written about how other people react to one's weight loss, or one's taking charge of one's health, and that it's just sometimes you just hit the nail right on the head, and that it speaks to me as an individual, and I cannot. It's not right for me to go on without mentioning those factors. You're passionate, you're clearly following your bliss, you clearly know what you're doing, and that your ability to communicate with people is extraordinary. And all of those things are what are driving you, I think, and what are making you very successful and helping me to also be successful. So I thank you for that.